Nathan, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, happy to be here,
Yeah,
Donovan.
thanks for being here, man. I'm
Thanks for
excited
having me.
to chat with you. It's been a long time. We've known each other for um, going back to high school,
Yeah.
right? So I want to start there and like playing baseball at East Lake. You and your brother, like what stands out to you, like playing baseball at East Lake back then from that time?
Oh man, we had a really good group of guys, and we had a very talented team,
Yeah,
and we had a good group of guys that we all grew up playing together.
yeah,
So it was all familiar faces, people that we had grown with, um, on the baseball and off the baseball field. um, that was it was really special, especially being 1 year younger than my older brother.
yeah,
um Playing, I was always playing up, so we could be in the same team. Having two brothers is a lot for my parents, like to juggle three kids and three teams, so it helped push me, it helped make me a lot better. Just a good group of guys growing up together, growing together, and building something special. We had a really good year there at my junior year where we got to the state championship,
yeah.
and just a lot of cool opportunities, and had a lot of special moments.
So that core group of guys, like you guys played like little league and stuff together, like growing up. That's pretty
Yeah, pretty
cool.
much. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
if they weren't guys that we played at East Lake Little League with,
Yeah.
they were guys that in the surrounding area that we played travel ball with
Okay.
once. They took the best kids from other programs and
Yeah.
put together travel teams. So it was all familiar faces, whether it was, against playing against each other in Little League, or playing with travel ball or against travel ball. They were all familiar faces that we got to know,
Yeah.
throughout growing up.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I like that, man.
Yeah.
Um, so now your business that you've started, the Studio Sauna. I guess tell us a little bit about that, like what you guys do there, and then I want to get into like how that came about, like to start this business.
Yeah, so we signed the lease for the studio sauna, last in May of 2023. My wife and I did the build out, as much as we could, everything ourselves. A couple great friends, Eddie and Tony, I have to give them shout outs. They're a huge help. So other than like the floors and the electrical work, we did everything. We were behind the schedule that we wanted to have, but that was okay because we did everything, everything we could. My wife and I both work full time. So we opened in on November 28th, the day after my wife's birthday. So we spent her birthday last year building out
Nice.
and trying to get open. Um, and so we've been open, yeah, 9 months, and we do sauna and cold plunge, what some people call either Nordic sauna, Nordic style sauna, or contrast therapy. The contrast being the heat of the sauna and the cold of the cold plunge. Um, so we have found that to be very beneficial for, our overall health, our mental health, our physical health, and I mean, now I see them so entwined. I really don't even most of the time refer to them as separate things.
Yeah.
Mental people talk about mental health and physical health, and for me, it's so intertwined. It's all health.
Health.
I
Yeah.
know, like if I'm physically doing good, I'm mentally doing good. If I'm mentally doing good, I feel better physically too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we
Yeah.
really preach that.
Yeah, I like that. So what are like the benefits of like contrast therapy, or just like if somebody's just getting into it and just doing cold plunges, like benefits for that?
So the biggest thing for me personally is stress resilience, hormetic or hormetic, tomato, um, is intentional stress you put on your body. When you're in the sauna, you're under the stress of the heat. When you're in the cold, you're under the stress of the cold. Um, and you basically find ways to not only just survive it, become more comfortable under stressful situations and stressful environments. So for me, the biggest thing is the mental resilience of being comfortable in a stressful environment,
Mm,
um, going back and forth. My mood, If you suffer from anxiety, I would say I had mild anxiety. I've gone through some bouts of depression in my life. And I know for me, regular practice of sauna and cold plunge, I mean, my mood is steady. Um, and I mentally just feel more clear. And like I said, my mood is just, I'm just way more even throughout the day.
Yeah.
Just generally just a happier person.
So you're putting your body in this like intentionally stressful environment,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're teaching yourself, you're learning, adapting ways to handle that stress. And then
Yes.
that's like translating to other aspects of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, that's where we aim to take it is outside,
Yeah.
someone cuts me off in the road. I'm not,
Yeah.
but where my initial reaction would be to forward I'm heightened. It's not so much a big deal. I'm able to concentrate more, under the stress of just life. I mean, it's life, man. It gets stressful.
Yeah.
And for me, putting intentional stress is just practice for stressful environments. And there's a myriad of physical benefits too. For me personally, the mental thing has been huge. Has been a
Yeah.
big game changer in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like once you like the mental piece of, because you're right, like life is hard, right? No
Mm-hmm.
matter where you're at, like some people have more difficult paths or whatever than others, but yeah, like having a clear mind and being able to like regulate all of that, like regulate those stresses and those difficult times that come up um is massive.
Yeah. And you mentioned the word adapt.
Yeah.
Your body adapts.
Yeah.
If it's like our immune system, which is a physical benefit of
Yeah.
doing sauna and cold plunge, is a boosted immune system. If we haven't adapted over time, every new pathogen that comes, every new
Right.
bacteria, we
Right.
just walk outside and we drop dead.
Yeah.
So like our body adapts to our environments. So you that's basically the practice. Yeah, is you put yourself under intentional stress. Your body's natural reaction is to stay a little bit calmer. And in the sauna we do some group classes, so we do some breathing exercises,
Yeah.
like box breaths, for instance. I mean, like the Navy SEALs use that as part of their training,
Okay.
because it's scientifically proven to help lower your heart rate,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
lower your stress levels.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've been doing some like breath work. I'll just look up something on YouTube or whatever and
mhm.
just do like some of that in the morning and stuff. And like that's been um I'm trying to think of a word, like like I can feel like myself just more calm and able to handle the day,
Yeah,
right? More so than before from doing different breath work. So I'm intrigued to learn more
yeah,
about that aspect. Yeah.
yeah. Part of like my wellness journey, and the mental side of it, and playing around with it when I found out breath work is one thing. And as a man, I'm not ashamed to admit it. Like I started taking baths at the end of the night. I just
Okay.
found baths like way more relaxing. I'd listen to a meditation, and an exercise I did. I'm like, this doesn't really work. So I would
Yeah.
put my ears. I would get in the bath, and I would put my ears underneath the water level, and I could hear my heart rate.
Okay.
And practicing breathing, I could slow. You can hear your heart rate getting
Slow
slower.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, breath work is huge. Your breath controls everything.
Yeah.
And in the cold, we really preach that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is your body's natural reaction is to kind of, when you get in that cold water, is your
Yeah.
fight or
Yeah.
flight takes over,
Yeah.
and everything kind of sucks in. And if you're not aware of it, you can forget to exhale. So we're like, just focus on your exhale, take a nice calm breath, and that it turns on your parasympathetic nervous system, which controls your whole stress response.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people find they're more reluctant to try it because of the cold. And the cold can teach you so much in handling stress, and it all is centered through your breath.
Yeah.
Big time.
Do you So I've done like a few cold plunges at my house. Like I bought like one of the cheap ones, inflatable ones, put ice in there and stuff like that. So I've done it. I think the lowest I've got it was like 55 degrees, and that is like really cold.
Yeah.
Um, what's the lowest temperature you've done on a cold plunge?
Probably 37.
Okay.
And it's
Did
cold.
you
It's cold.
did you like start off at 37? Like is your body just able to handle that, or did you have to
When
work your way towards that?
when we started doing it at the house, I couldn't even tell you the temperature.
Okay.
We
Just did
we
it.
fill it up with ice and water and just hop in.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the first 3 times I tried it, my wife had been doing it. She introduced me to this whole thing.
Okay.
My
Okay.
wife Marissa. And I mean, she's like, you got 2 minutes. That's it. 2 minutes is it. And I mean, I think I was in there for 30 seconds at a time. My mind was racing.
Okay.
I did not control my breath. I sat there and stared at the clock, and I mean, it held ice, so it was cold.
Yeah.
It was probably around 40 degrees,
Yeah.
maybe sub 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got it cold. We had to buy, like we were buying like $50 in ice at a time. So we're trying to get our money's worth,
Yeah.
in Florida here, it's gone by the morning,
I know.
it's gone
Yeah.
after an hour. So, it was frigid, like painfully cold.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, when I finally got my breath down and was able to get my body to stop shivering, because I just sit there and shiver uncontrollably. When I got through my breath to get my mind to get my body to calm down and just settle in, was when I really fell in love with it. And I think that was like maybe my third or fourth time trying it, really attempting it. Yeah.
Yeah. I realized like it sounds like your cold plunge was way colder than mine, but I remember figuring out that it was like a minute in when kind of like the shock and the pain of the cold would kind of like go away,
Mhm.
and you'd be able to just like sit there,
Yeah.
and that's cool. Like once you get to that point, you're just like, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get through that uncomfortable
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned, so your wife got you into this, the cold plunging and stuff.
Yes.
So is that what you started with, was cold plunge
Was
versus
yes,
sauna?
at home.
Okay.
We started cold plunging at home.
Okay.
She brought me to a place in Tampa, Kodawari Studios, and have to give him a shout out. And Annette, one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. They started sauna and cold plunging there, probably like 10 years ago. Annette was really ahead of everybody.
Mhm.
And so my wife would go there and take yoga classes, and met some friends. They have a great community of people there. And, so they're like, hey, you want to come sauna and cold plunge with us? Got introduced to it there, was doing it for about 2 years before we met, and
Okay.
brought me out over there as a date night. And,
Nice.
I couldn't wimp out in front of the 10 or 11 other people we were sauna and cold plunging with. So they have that accountability was great.
Yeah.
So just jumped in and did it, and had such a great experience. I had no idea about the physical benefits of, what it did to your body. All I
Yeah.
know is that I met really cool people,
Cool.
and felt great leaving,
Yeah.
and thought that it was really special.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So going back to the starting a business, growing up, did you ever want to start a business? Was that ever like a thought or a goal of yours?
After I came back from college, I always thought I was going to play baseball. That's what I was
Yeah.
going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, or my dad ran the Brooker Creek Preserve, the
Yeah.
nature preserve, and I thought that was the coolest job in the world. So I wanted his job, or I was going to play baseball, or I was going to do something with animals.
Did you play in college too?
I did. I played for 2 years in
Okay.
college. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't until I started, working. I worked in hospitality, working for other people, that I got the idea of one day, and it was always one day,
Mhm.
one day I'd like to be my own boss. One
Yeah.
day I'd like to start a business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So seeing other businesses operate, like you were like, I think I can do this. Like I want to do this.
Yeah, it was through a lot of different experiences, either having ideas that I thought would be beneficial and not being heard. And no matter where I've been at, whether it's like baseball field or in school, or socially, I've always kind of thought of myself as a leader, or found myself in leadership roles. I've always had a drive to be in a leadership position.
Yeah.
And I've always had a drive, to add something beneficial to other people's lives, to do something of service. So I think, entrepreneurship and being a business owner, that all ties in together.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. And so you mentioned the community too, right? The community of people in like this health and wellness space, or just that want to be a better version of themselves. That's pretty important too, right? Like,
That is the community part of it, I would say, was the most important thing to me.
yeah.
Um, Going to Kotowari over there in Tampa and seeing the community of people, was, I know it hit my wife, and struck a chord with my wife. And then when she brought me there, it really struck a chord with me. I mean,
Mm.
everyone is rooting for each other. Everyone was so kind. It was such a positive experience, such a positive group of people to be around. I mean, everyone was friends.
Mm-hmm.
The restaurant industry, it can get a little catty.
Yeah.
They can be a little dramatic, and and that's not me.
Yeah.
When we left there, my wife shared, it's honestly would be a dream of mine to open a place like that and to help grow a community of people and get a group of people together like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and I was on board right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you go about like finding or building that community? Like, is there any intention involved in like trying to find the right people, or are you just building something and then, attracting the right people?
Everyone showed up.
Yeah.
Everyone showed up. For us, it was just providing the space.
Mm.
It's kind of like, that saying, everything flows, everything that's supposed to flow to you does. And I mean, that's what happens there every day since the moment we opened. And DJ, our first member, walked in the door. Um,
It's crazy.
Everyone that has meant to find us and has meant that has needed that spot or wanted that spot, they've all find us. I mean, we've spent very minimal amount on marketing. We do
Mm-hmm.
the social media thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been the most special thing about it too, is that, the 4 employees we have now, they've all found us.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I envision, because we're working there 7 days a week, a dream. Once again, the idea is one day we're going to have employees. What's that going to look like? We try to envision things. What's it going to like to have employees here? What's it going to like to go through that hiring process? How are we going to find these people? And, I believe in it so much. I told my wife, I said, I have a feeling that they're going to find us. We're not going to have to go out and find them.
Mm.
Everyone, the 4 that we have working there, Brittany, Grace, Alexis, they were all members.
Okay.
And then Jordan now, who started Good Vibes Run Club, we found him through the Run
yeah.
Club.
Yeah.
And, it's worked out to where everyone's found us.
Yeah.
Which
That's
makes
pretty
it
cool.
really special. Yeah.
I know Jordan. Jordan's gonna be on the podcast in a couple of weeks or whatever.
Yeah, he's a
So
cool dude.
yeah, what he's created there too is, speaking of community, man, that's everything, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's a big part of, I think, the way we are as humans and stuff. Like, we need that community,
Yeah.
whether it's at work, whether it's in health and wellness or whatever. But how did you like get on this journey of like bettering yourself, like taking care of yourself? Is it something like you've always kind of like done in some capacity?
Yeah. Growing up playing sports and playing them competitively and having, the dream of one day playing, Major League Baseball. Yeah. After baseball ended, that was tough, and I got away from it for a little while. That was a tough little stretch on my journey.
Yeah.
I kind of lost a little sense of identity there for a little bit. So for me, I started getting back on track, going through an uncomfortable situation. And that was my divorce a couple years ago. It pointed out a lot of things to me that I was either ignoring or not doing right. And it all boiled down to taking care of myself and making myself a priority, physically and mentally. I was give all the time. I did not do much to fill my own cup, and I thought that was enough. And it was very abruptly pointed out that I can't help take care of other people and be my best self if I'm not doing stuff to take care of me too.
Yeah.
And so I was getting very bad sleep throughout this stressful process, and I made the great decision to start getting up and taking my dog for a walk on Dunedin Causeway every morning. And every morning I showed up for myself. It felt great. And the more stuff I did for myself that helped fill my cup, I'm like, wow, this feels good. Okay, what else can I do? And then I started going to the gym. I cut out alcohol. Huge, the biggest game changer for me. And was just constantly looking for, in as healthy of a manner as I could, to add things to my routine, just to keep going, just to keep feeling better. And, it encompassed like the food I ate, the physical activity I was getting. I started reading again, started learning again, and just made growth, part of my daily routine. Do something to get a little bit better than the day before, and stop comparing with other people, and focus on me, because I can't do anything about anybody else, but I sure can do some about me.
Yeah. I love that. What are like your routine or your habits? Like, what are some of your habits that you've identified that work for you, that are like, this is like, if I don't do these, I'm not in a good mental space, or like I need to do these things?
Yeah. Oh man, non-negotiables in my life.
Yeah.
Sauna and cold plunge regularly, of course, has become one of them, and we've seen the benefits of it, and we wanted to offer that to other people too.
Yeah.
Reading every day, learning something.
Are you just reading books huge. Just for like personal development books, or just reading in general?
Personal development was huge.
Yeah.
That was huge for me. I needed to be taught a lot of things that either wasn't modeled for me growing up or taught to me growing up. But there's some things that I was missing there. So personal development books, changing my mindset from a lack to a growth mindset, was huge. And also fun too. As long as I'm exercising my mind, I'm gonna feel good.
Sure.
But learning and reading to learn something, and learning from other, and speaking of community, I mean, learning from somebody else.
Yeah.
But I think Jordan Peterson was one that I started reading that I enjoyed. And one of the things he says is, always listen to somebody like they know something you don't. And I really like that quote. So, I realize I am not the smartest person out there. And I can take things from other people and implement them into my life. Physical activity, hitting the gym, working out, going for a run, going for a walk is huge. Getting outside, getting sunlight every day is huge. Nutrition, your whole immune system is in your gut. It controls, is everything. There's a huge health crisis in America today, and it all boils down to the food that we're eating, I believe.
Yeah.
So nutrition's huge. It'll help you feel good.
Yeah.
If nothing else, not just looking good, but feeling good. Physical activity, nutrition, getting outside, reading, and sleep.
Yeah.
when I was a little bit younger, I did not prioritize my sleep. I
Yeah.
can sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah.
No, man, sleep
That
is
used to
the
be the
big
mindset, right?
regulator.
Like growing
Oh
up.
yeah,
Yeah. Forget sleep.
this
We'll sleep.
hustle mentality of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
if you got to get something done, by all means get it done because you're gonna feel good doing it,
Yeah.
and also get your rest,
Yeah.
get your sleep. You do all of your recovery in your sleep. If you're hitting the gym, you're not going to get the gains that you're meant to have if you're not prioritizing sleep.
Yeah.
Your body resets in your sleep.
Yeah.
So
How much sleep do you need for you to feel like your optimal self?
oh man, at least 6 hours. In
Okay.
a perfect world, man, I'm getting 8-9 hours every night.
Yeah.
Um, we're doing all the laundry at the studio right now.
Oh yeah.
So I'm picking up towels after clothes if I'm not there, and we're washing them, and I got to make sure they're ready for the next day.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, 8-9 hours a night.
Yeah.
Right now I'm at 6 and I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just talking to somebody before and we were talking about like seasons of life, right? Like you have different seasons where sometimes you have to forego some of those habits or pull them back a little bit just to accomplish like starting a business or something, right? But then also knowing that at some point like I have to get back to getting more sleep or improving whatever it is, getting back to my cold and sauna plunges and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a stoic mindset. And
Yeah.
stoicism is another thing that I stumbled across in my reading venture. And
Okay.
it all kind of boils down to, putting off some pleasure now for the greater good, for a greater, pleasure down the road.
Yeah.
So, I'm in this season right now where I really feel like, I have to attack it with a stoic mindset. We're doing these things now to set us up for better later.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have an imagination that will pay off.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to build here. I don't come from a generational wealthy family. My wife doesn't come from that situation, and that's something we want to build. So if we're going to build that, we're going to take it head on.
Yeah.
And hopefully, pass something along to our kids and teach them something along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. It goes back to the community too, right? Just being able to kind of show the community like you can do this too. And that's one of the reasons, like why I started the podcast was to like, one, I was curious to learn from other business owners and but two, like reading for me was a big thing that like started my path into real estate and business ownership and stuff. And that changed my mindset was reading books about personal development and business and wealth and being able to share that and also like the listeners, the people that are listening to the podcast, like introduce them to the business owners so that they can understand that we all go through the same struggles and doubts and fears and all that kind of stuff too.
Oh man, good point. Yeah, if you're not connected with other people, it's very easy, and I've done it, to feel like you're the only one with the problems you have.
Yeah.
And you can hit that victim kind of mentality,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
And play like the poor me card and think that
Yes.
life that that you're not supported. That's a really good point. And part of connecting people, and when you get to sharing and some stuff, you can connect in real life that you can't just throw on social media.
Right.
You see a lot of people at their best on social media. You don't see what they had to go through to get there.
Yes.
But if you're connected with people, I know for me, in my personal experience, through the sauna, through church, that it's real, and you're sitting there with somebody, and you might bring up an issue and share something you're going through. They have a similar story, and you don't feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge, because starting a business, it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing anything and taking on anything like that, man, it's I know for me, as a new, never owned a business before,
Yeah.
it's scary.
Yeah.
And luckily I've had some good examples And I've had some great support through the community of people that I've met and connected with. And that has made such a huge difference.
Yes, I think that's a big part of it that a lot of people, I think a lot of business owners forget about too, and is the community, right? And leaning on the community to help like build up their business, because people want to help each other. You find the right people, and not everyone, right? But you find the right people, and they want to be a part of that, or to be, to be helpful in some capacity.
Yeah, us as social creatures, I mean,
Yeah.
we would, as human beings, not be here today
Yeah.
without the support of one another.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
living in caves and fighting off saber-toothed tigers. I mean, if we all did it ourselves, we'd be easy pickings.
Yeah.
You
We'd be
know?
done. We'd be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite books that you like, one or two books that have stood out to you that like, these are my top two that have made an impact?
Oh man. Okay. Eckhart Tolle was huge. I think that was one of the first books that I read, A New Earth.
Okay.
That was huge. He's a big spiritual guy. He's a great spiritual teacher. He's got some great lessons in staying present.
Okay.
Everything that he writes is kind of staying in the present moment. And it really pointed out that like it's really easy to let a lot of moments go by. That if you sat there and were present and fully enjoyed them, you would be a happier person and you would feel more fulfilled. Whereas I would go watch like a sunset and be thinking about what we were going to do afterwards. Like, yeah, it's a great sunset over there, but also I have to go do this.
Yeah.
That was the first time I noticed it, was like watching a sunset with my daughter, and staying fully present in that moment. It was such a big experience, such a different, fulfilling experience.
Yeah.
So really like being fully in everything you do, really just being there at the moment, because we don't have anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was something pointed out to me early on. That was huge.
Love that.
Michael Singer, Living Untethered. He's got a couple books.
Okay.
Living Untethered was huge. And he kind of talks about, the way we react to things. He basically teaches you how to unlearn some of your unhealthy reactions to situations and people. And I never understood why I reacted some of the way. And it all kind of boils down to like situations of your past that you hadn't fully worked through.
Yeah. Right.
So it gave me a lot of self-realization of like, I'm this way because of this. And now I have a way to do something different.
Yeah.
So
Change
that was
pattern.
huge.
I like that.
Yeah.
Living Untethered, is that one?
Living Untethered.
Okay.
Yeah. He's got The Untethered Soul. I actually haven't gotten, I think that's the first one he wrote.
I see.
I went straight to Living Untethered because that's what my wife had that one. She passed along to me.
Okay.
We did this. We were like, hey, what's the most influential books?
Yeah.
That we did.
Cool.
Yeah. So those two were huge. The biggest one was getting back in the Bible.
Oh yeah.
I didn't mention spiritual growth.
Yeah.
Physical growth, mental growth, huge. Spiritual, man, has changed my life, as far as just being more peaceful, being more optimistic. Spiritual growth, no matter what you're into.
Right. Right.
I'm not here to preach like one thing or the other. For me, it was the Bible and spiritual growth and growing my relationship spiritually.
Yeah. I love that. It's a big part of it. I mean, when you talk about like all the things that you do for yourself now, it seems it can seem like a lot, but I think I've learned this too. Like all of those are important, right? Everything that you do, reading for your mind and spiritual, physical, like the stuff you do for cold and the cold plunges and sauna, for both physical and mental, like, all of that, getting sunlight, getting good sleep. It's all so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit better than the
Yeah.
day before.
Yeah.
I don't have to be perfect, but
Yeah.
I'm as long as I'm actively trying to get a little bit better, and I'm at, like, comparing through comparison out the window. I
Yeah.
have me. As long as I feel like I'm doing something for myself that's helping me along my path, um, I'm gonna feel good. I'm gonna feel good, and it's gonna give me the motivation to keep going.
Yeah.
As long as I do that, it's the momentum,
Yeah.
the momentum thing. There's motivation and momentum.
Oh, for sure.
So starting
sure.
out, you got to have the motivation to do something.
Yeah. And just start with one thing. I think for me, it was, I'm trying to think, like, one of the the first book I read was Rich Dad Poor Dad, that kind of changed my mindset, like, around money and personal development and growth and stuff. And then The Miracle Morning was one that got me into, like, some of those habits, right? Like journaling, for me, is a big one. Getting up and exercising in some capacity, like first thing in the morning. And yeah, but all, like, and I've gone through, I'm sure similar to you, right? You go through different cycles where, I try to do, like, all these things first thing in the morning, and it doesn't quite work out well. So you got to change things, adapt. And maybe, one thing is more important than the other, right? So, like,
Yeah.
journaling was something that I stuck with, and seemed more important. Same thing with, like, physical exercise, is important to me too.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just like a constant work in progress.
Those are good books. And the morning, having a routine,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
huge. And that's the fun of it, is trying new things and seeing
Right.
what works for you. Hey, this isn't working. Okay, I'll try something else.
Yeah.
Like journaling, huge, man.
I used to beat myself up over, like, okay, I got to do all these in the morning. And if I
Mhm.
didn't get it done, I would be like, dang it, I didn't do it. But then I realized, like, I just need to do what works for me, and
Yeah.
figure out those core pieces, like, whatever that is, right? Like, here's the ideal scenario. If I can't do them all, then that's great. I'll do what I can, and figure out what's the most important.
Grace.
Yeah.
Having grace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me on a daily basis, priority list.
Okay.
This is what I got to get done.
Okay.
These are the most important things. I do it in life. These are the game changer for me. Was when I had a mentor prioritize things. What's the most important things to you? And you do things for those.
So do you create, like, a daily list of, like, here's,
I try to.
yeah.
I know I got to do this in the morning, so
Yeah.
I'm going to get that done. It's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I hear for you, it's journaling.
Yeah.
For me, I forgot the military guy that wrote that book is like, make your bed. Start with make your bed.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Peterson says that too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But just get up, accomplish a task.
Yeah.
For me, that's turned into, like, what do I have to get done today? What do I have to do? And I'm going to start there.
Yeah.
And then, I list what are the most important things that I have today.
Mm-hmm.
And I get as many of them as I can done. I do have limits.
Yeah.
I do used to beat myself up over not getting everything done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine. Did I, to the best of my ability, get as much done today as possible?
Yeah.
In an effective and healthy manner.
Right.
And beating yourself up is
not healthy.
Not healthy.
Dang it.
So did I do this today? Awesome. Did I do this today? Awesome.
Yeah.
And there are some days where I'm like, I want to say, well, I only got those done. Well, it's like, I got that done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? These we'll do tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's really going back to, like, a stoic mindset. Yeah, I could push this off tomorrow, but wouldn't tomorrow be easier if I did this today?
Mm-hmm. I love that.
So,
Love that. So where's your studio? Where can people come check you guys out and hop in the cold plunge?
Yeah. So we're in the Dunedin Causeway Plaza. And 2664 Bayshore Boulevard in Dunedin, Florida. So that's at the crossroads of alternate 19 and Curlew. Like you're going out to Honeymoon Island down the Dunedin Causeway. We're right next to Madison Avenue Pizza.
Nice.
A great local business. In between them and the Great Bottle. next
Okay.
door, which is a local wine merchant.
Yeah.
That Rob and I go back to high school together, so it's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
cool having a business next to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, we're in the Causeway Plaza there with the gym and Dollar General, and some great local businesses have opened up there recently.
Yeah.
You know, Madison Avenue's been there a minute. The Great Bottle's relatively new.
Yeah.
Indies Cookies are in there. Sea Whip Sushi Bar has opened. Great sushi there. Travis took over the gym just over a year and a half ago, and his vision of what he wanted to do at the gym was a huge motivator for us to get into the spot that we're in now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be really cool to see that plaza like come back to life, right?
Yeah.
Like get a facelift in there too.
Yes.
But
The tornado didn't help it
That's
back
true.
in November, so there's some
That's
work to
true.
be done in there.
Yeah.
But it's got the businesses, so
Yeah.
we're hoping the facelift comes, and we're so happy to be in that spot.
Yeah. It's a great location.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, man.
It has gotten overlooked for a long time,
Yeah.
and we're hoping, you know, at least with just the businesses, you know, we can drive more traffic in there.
Yeah. Well, it's a big spot too, right? Like there's tons of different
Yeah.
businesses in there
Yeah.
and opportunities.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That bingo hall packs them in too.
Oh, do
The
they?
bingo hall. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the only bingo hall I know that's around.
That's
Man,
true.
that bingo hall. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Nathan, man, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Donnie. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
It was special.